In the last week, something fairly significant has happened. Beachhut, which has been frustrated, has been complaining for the last 3 weeks, has actually got to that point where they've a deal, or at least they've what they hope is a deal, with the commercial part of the Irish Times. So they're moving forward on a project to launch a photo competition. They're still a little bit frustrated because they don't yet have agreement in writing, but it looks like the sponsors are fairly well stowed away and they'll be launching in September.
We needed to engage a sponsor for the Irish Times to actually feel any urgency about it.
I contacted Canon, the proposal went into Canon. Canon pushed it back to their media agency, but they're absolutely taking it seriously. I suppose sometimes you can't be the nice guy because you want to get things done. That was definitely the case here. Initially, what we hoped to do was to produce a printed catalogue and stick it in every newspaper. And just the logistics of that and the cost of that is quite prohibitive. The team in here came up with a great idea, which was an e-book. And it'll be the first e-book that the Irish Times has produced, and it's great that Beachhut is going to be the engine that supplied all the content for that e-book. I'm very excited about the opportunity.
There's no excitement in his voice.
We're very excited. You don't give 50k to people who can't get shit done. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Our advertising department realised that knocon.ie, which is the amateur rugby community, had something quite special right from the beginning. This wasn't initially clear at the pitch period. We thought Knock-On mightn't have a very strong revenue proposition. So our head of advertising, Eamon Fitzpatrick, is speaking now to a major client about getting significant sponsorship to keep Knock-On going for the next 12 months. And if that happens, Rob will be in a position where he can keep adding to Knock-On and growing his product.
Met with Eamon from advertising last week. It was a good meeting. He's very excited about the project. He believes he has a couple of companies in mind to be possible big brand sponsors. The plan is maybe for getting a brand sponsor for the roadshows and the website all in one, and having the Irish Times as our media partner. With the roadshows, the idea is you go to a venue, something along the lines of what they do when radio shows go out and about. We'll have 2 or 3 key contributors who are regular contributors to Knock On, and it'll be a video package on YouTube afterwards. It'll be streamed live. The speccing out of the roadshow hasn't gone very well so far, but hopefully by the end of next week we'll have it all done. Met with Paul Hayes just today. He's very interesting background in terms of how to kickstart companies and how to get them out there and get them in the market.
Yeah, so it's just find the thing that you think is going to have sticking power in people's minds, and that works. This is the first Havoc stand. I spent £250,000 on that stand. That's only one corner of it, and it was 2-story and everything else. And they didn't fire me because it was good for brand building, but we put it in between the Sony and the Microsoft stand, who were launching PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and we looked like a shanty town. And this was my second stand. So out of necessity, the guy said, right, you've got £2,000, including beer money, for the next show. So we parked an RV in the back car park, and it actually turned out to be much more successful. So they heard about the Irish guys at the back that had beer in an RV, and everyone came in. We got half an hour with everyone, and we had a little pitch. More importantly, they had a beer. They felt good about us, we felt good about them, and we landed about 60 customers. So we would become the mobile party that would bring you to the cool parties.
Over the coming months, the Irish Times is working on a major new initiative that is entirely separate to the digital challenge, and it's going to change our digital presence online. Now, I've been trying to get Oliver Mooney's solution, GetBulb, into the mix so that it has some permanent role in that new presentation. We know already that on the print side, Oliver's solution, GetBulb, is actually being very, very firmly embraced.
I met with Paul Hayes, formerly of Havoc, this morning. He did a lot of work on the marketing of Havoc's products in the States, and he's a really energetic, really enthusiastic guy. He loves marketing, he lives and breathes it.
You know, who are your competitors and who do you need to destroy? And let's pick a fight, let's throw an elbow. because you've got everything to gain from that.
Adobe do these separate print and online tools, and they're putting this artificial division between print guys and online guys, different toolkits and everything. And we just one single app that cuts across the divide. Adobe want to prevent that happening because they have so many revenue streams now coming from both sides.
And who hates Adobe? Apple.
That's true, Apple do.
There's always someone wants to kill some other big guy,
Yeah.
and they've got more resources than
Yeah.
you. So there could be some way, without getting into bed completely, that you can harness, leverage. You want to be the one sparking the debates on this stuff. In this period, you should be framing the debate out there on how data is presented before you're even known about it.
Yeah.
So that when you are, you're the solution to the problem that you've engendered.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That you're kind of seeding these stories. You know, if it's in your interest for Apple Adobe fights, and start commenting on it and where it's going to go and what Adobe are doing wrong, what Apple are doing wrong, what, you know.
Yeah.
Use the big names and then use it against themselves, especially in the space you're in where you're trying to disrupt something.
Yeah.
And remember, you know, when you get to the West Coast, the Irish Times is an amazing customer to have in your pocket, or backer.
Frida McEnroe of My iFly had a great meeting with a few different elements of our commercial team last week. And I think the point that they've got to now is that commercial is going to start pitching Frida's product as an upsell from print. So you buy a print ad, but you also get this additional digital service. If they can get some deals over the line in the next week, she'll be on a very solid footing indeed.
One of the key things this week is to give a presentation to the advertising people that they can use in pitching to potential clients, so they have a very clear picture of what they're offering. Met with Sean there, who's really interesting. He founded Demonware and sold it very successfully then a couple of years ago, and so it's very interesting to talk about that because they've done this and done it correctly.
Currently you're looking primarily at B2B locally initially, with a view to doing partnerships overseas. But what I think is also interesting is provisionally to look at a digital marketing angle, where you see if you can find professional consumers or prosumers in digital marketing agencies and digital companies that are engaged more or less full-time in trying to run online campaigns. And if you can find a way to target those people through inbound marketing, you suddenly have a really highly scalable business model where you can go internationally at pretty low cost without having to employ a sales staff to do it, which would be kind of cool. That can be hard by itself. You might get the sales faster here, but you know, it's harder to take off when you actually have to do consultative sales.
You have to,
and it can be slow to expand internationally. But if you get the digital model right, it might take longer to get right initially because you're not doing it face to face. But once you get it, it explodes.
I mean, that's something I could try for that particular. I just met with Paul. That was a good meeting. One of the key things we talked about was the fact that, you know, I'm selling typically with business partners, so a B2B strategy, but I'm also looking at, you know, the end user using the application.
The more you talk about your tech right now, the more people think this stuff doesn't work. Ironically.
The more you talk about it,
the more you talk about what you've got right now. You just want to do a very brief description. This is what it does right now. Now, let me show you where it's going.
Okay.
What they're really doing is they're buying
they'll buy the future,
the relationship
buy the
with you. They don't want to buy the present because they're only reassured that the present works by them being confident you're the person that's going to lead them into the future. The relationships you have, you hope are going to be for, you know, the value. You don't want to have to keep acquiring new customers. You want to keep those customers over the long term. So they want to know that you're the person for the long term, as opposed to Miss Right Now.
So I think it's been an interesting few weeks for Storyflow, Martin Bashworth's company. He's trying to solve that problem of compelling and attracting a user of our site or any other to click on a related link. He's been working on different prototypes, and I've asked him to try and make whatever he comes up with playful and interactive. You should feel that when you mouse over a link that you're getting some reward even before you click on it, that it reacts, the colors change, things bounce around. Because right now his prototype is not being clicked on. It's live on irishtimes.com, and right now it does not work. So he's come up with a new prototype that's moving in this new, improved direction. We'll wait and see if it works.